Radio Engineering, Graphics and Design learners, we're on page 213 of the HSE workbook and we're doing a mechanical assembly. It's the first one that I'm doing with you. Now, we've already spent some time just in class preparing us for this lesson, so I'm going to start off by giving an overview for you how to answer mechanical assembly regardless of the workbook you are using. And of course, you're going to get a start by the actual question that's given to you. Now, of course, on this actual paper, I'll just zoom out so you have a picture of the big question as it is. So they say here, they've given us the following information: a pictorial view of a CAM and pulley assembly. We'll look at the details right now, plus various components here on the top that makes up this assembly. Okay, and all of this is always going to be in third angle orthographic projection. All right, so first things first is take a moment and spend time on your actual 3D pictorial view as well as your parts list so that you identify the different parts here. And at the same time, we're going to check on top. So if I take here, zoom in on this one. All right, it tells you a couple of important matters. The first one here is the direction of the front view. All right. It is if I look in this direction. Okay. And so, in other words, can you believe? Sorry, just a. Okay. If I look in this direction, I'm going to see the lesser width of my actual bearing stand, right? And so, if I look at the bearing stand that's given to me, they've given me two views here. You see the lesser width and the wide part. Now, just look again to that 3D view. So they've indicated in this one that this side is in fact the front view. And if I then look at the part list that's given, I know this is the front. You can go write it in there based on that 3D. And then here will of course be in third angle orthographic projection, the right view. Okay. The second hint that you can find this is when they ask you to draw, in the end they ask draw full sectional front view as well as a right view of the assembled bearing stand. So that, together with this 3D view, will help you orientate the different parts. And so if I look at the parts list here, we've got a bearing stand, front view, right view. You can take a ruler or a highlighter and just put that in a block to help you. Next to it, we have the CAM. Again, we've got the front view and the right view. And you can confirm that by looking at the 3D. There it is. You see that CAM? If I look from the front here, I'm going to see those two surfaces plus that part which is indicated here. All right. And then we've got the bearing. And we can just follow that. There's a pin there. We've got a shaft, only one view of the shaft. We've got, again, the different views of our washer, our nut, our key, which is our fasteners, and then our cover plates and the pulley. Okay, that's one part. The next thing that's important here is to try and determine how everything fits together. And for that you are going to use this. So we're going to see how does this all fit together. But added to this, the actual measurements of the components. So our shaft, that's going to fit within that bearing. Now just double check the shaft diameter. The actual shaft diameter is diameter 20. Okay. And if I look at the bearing, the inside diameter of that bearing is also diameter 20. All right. So those two parts, again, give some direction on that. Then something that's very important in this view here, that shaft, there's a hole for this pin to go through here. And you can see that again from the 3D, that pin goes through my pulley. And it's going to go through this hole on that shaft as to fasten the pulley onto that shaft. And I can see that there's the pin, diameter 4. There's a hole, again diameter 4. And look here, on the actual pulley, there also is a diameter 4 hole that's indicated for us. Okay, so you're going to have to use the different measurements to confirm what you see in the 3D view. Okay. How do we get this started? Well, you have to read carefully what is required. They ask us for a full sectional front view. They specify things like the nut must be shown 3 faces. All construction for the nut must be shown. Insert a label for the full sectional front view. Then they ask a right view of the assembled bearing stand and the bearing only. That means they're excluding the actual nut from this right view. Nee? So you're not going to put the nut on this right view. Insert the section line, all in detail, complete the title block, etc. Okay, take a moment to read that. But what I want to emphasize, ladies and gentlemen, is the fact that some of you think you can put this page with a drawing board under your pillow, sleep on it, and the next morning you're going to be a draftsman. No, you have to draw this. It takes time, it takes practice. And the best advice I can give you is to draw this drawing from beginning to end, to not stop until you've completed this entire list on the side, including the cutting planes, including the title block, the title, the scale, projection symbol. It is preparing you for a final exam which you want to finish. And so you have at most 90 minutes for a drawing like this come the final exam. At most. So you have to practice yourself to finish this drawing within 90 minutes. Now I've started it off because we don't have 90 minutes in this lesson. And I'm going to just talk you through how to get this done and then hopefully finish this with you. So we wanted the front view with a right view. So planning is going to be important. Determine what is your maximum height of this, and in this case it was 100. Okay, so I know spacing wise, nicely spaced in the middle of my page, height wise, that's going to be fine. So I started with that construction line, which is eventually going to be a center line, and then I looked at the different parts and I kind of saw, okay, well, I've got my cam here, its width is about 40, then I've got my bearing stand, then I've got the cover plane with the pulley. So in total there, I'm around about 130, 140 in width. So I had to leave enough space on that side, plus leave enough space here, at least 100 for my right view. Okay. And of course, the longest part is 140 for that base is going to be here. So I have to have at least 140. So spacing wise, they're not going to give you a starting point for these. So where I started was this center line here, which I did as a construction line. And then I started building onto this, the different components, the bearing stand, the bush, the bearing, the pin, the cam, etc. And I'm using the details that's given on here. Each and every measurement here, you will be required for drawing that. Okay. All right. So I'm wanting to do the hatching with you. So I'm just going to quickly look through this drawing. We've just inserted the Woodruff key here. Just finishing off that. I've got my pulley. I still need to do, there's my washer. I still need to do my actual shaft end as well as the nut. I'm going to use that using the right hand view. So I'm going to slide myself over here to do the right hand view. So that's 114 total. So I'll be using these measurements. Just draw this in basic steps as a start. Okay. Okay, look here, this is interesting. They've asked here a right view of the assembled bearing stand and bearing only. They're not requiring the nut. They're not even requiring any other components in my right view. Okay, just take note of that. So there's not going to be the, not even the cam is going to be part of this drawing. All right, so it's going to help us in saving some time. So I'll go 140 scale 1 to 1 here. Okay, let's see if we can get this drawn quickly. Ja, sien. Ja. Okay, so I just projected my height from this one across. Okay, then using these measurements here, so I'm going to use that 72 to get that in detail, center line, and then move my way inward using again these diameters. Right, sorry, then the 64. Okay, to get that bearing, we're going to need a lot more focus on this specific measurements. They want us to draw this bearing as it is given here. Okay, so using exactly the measurements from there, that's going to take some time. Let's get going. 64 is the outer one. I think I've got that. There's the outer. Then we've got a 6 millimeters from that. See it in detail. $25. Okay, that's on set on radius 25, this one. Okay, all right, that's this line here. Now we're going to do another 5 and another 5. Now 20. Okay, another 5, bring it down to 15. Okay, and then the last one is another 20, so that's 10. Okay, then if we look at the number of them, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So using your 30-60 degree triangle into our center lines. Okay, and then if you have one of these, each one of those bearings there is radius 10, so you can then use one of these. Okay, I just have to, on this line, get me, let's see, maybe I can do it with my compass. Radius, oh, it's going to be too difficult. So I'm going to get myself a center line on each one of these so that I can use my stencil. If you are able to draw yours with your compass, maybe your compass is more accurate than mine, then you're welcome to use that. So it's on this outside arc. Okay, these are all construction lines. All right, now using my radius 10. All right, half of this is going to be solid. The other half is going to be hidden detail. All right. Next one. And so you're going to continue all the way around. I think the stencil probably is going to work best in my case. Those of you who've drawn this, anybody's drawn this part yet? Okay, what do you think? Are you also going to use the stencil or are you going to draw with the compass? Compass? If you do the stencil, please make sure you do that center line that I just drew, because without it, it's not going to be, your placement can be out, okay? This is the first one for all of us for this year, grade 12, so we're all a bit rusted. But I think as we continue, we're going to get quicker. Okay, I want to quickly go to be able to draw our nut on the left hand side, on the front view here. I need an auxiliary view. You can draw that auxiliary view anywhere. Maybe we should draw it outside here because it is quite a lot. So it is a what is it, M12. What is 12 times 1.5 is 28, ne? So that means 14. That's your radius. 18, 9. Radius 9, ne? M12, 12 times 1.5 is, say, 18, so that's 9. Alright, that means our circle here in construction, this is our auxiliary view, is a 18 diameter, and now three sides of that, it's going to be a 30-degree construction line this side, 30-degree this side. You can't draw your nut using a stencil. This must be drawn using all construction details. That means they actually want to see even this part here. Okay, so you're going to project this across. Same on this side. That goes across. That goes across. That goes across. The height there is 9. Okay, and on this one we want that degree at 30 degrees. Flip it. There's the other one. You remember this, grade 12s? Okay, we did that construction to get these center points, that one, and that one. You're now using my compass on that point there. Top arc. This is going to be very small. Okay, then a 60-degree angle here on the end, as well this side. This goes flat. Hallo, dankie juffrou. Alright, there is, and then the last part there is the actual this end here, M12, that's 18 from that end. So from here, 18 is going to be out a little bit. Screw thread, if they don't tell you the size of that screw thread, it is going to be 12 times 0.1 is going to be 1.2. 1.2 either way. And then a 45. Okay, after this we're going to do the hatching. Okay, so you should be able to get quite confidently up to this point. Right, if we look at what is missing on my right view, there's those two dots there that you have to add. So it's on this axis. It's on 45 degrees, it's in the middle here. Alright, so it's right there. I'm just going to quickly put them in here. You be more diligent and you measure them accurately. Remember the center line. Anytime there is a circle, we need a center line. Okay. Alright, on this end here, there is also 15 in from either side, and then it's 10 millimeters. Same on this side, 15 in, 10 millimeters. Just a center line. Hidden detail. Neatness is important, but finishing is more important. Do you agree with me? So for you to finish and be neat, you have to practice. For you to finish and slordig, moet jy net teken, klaar kry. Okay. That's our right view without the nut and the washer. On this side, let's do our hatching. So if I do the hatching, this first part here, okay, that all we still have to do. I'm just going to do 8 millimeters. Okay, so we'll do 45 degree. It's a big part, so your spacing can be bigger. You don't want to waste time unnecessarily. All the way through. Maybe those of you who's in class, just check if there's anything that I've missed according to you in this drawing. Maybe a line or a... We're going to do the hatching now, so don't tell me about hatching that I've missed. But if there's anything else that you've picked up, I want to make sure we're close to 100% to this one. Okay, so hatching on this one. Then the other main component is this one. So we're going to just flip our hatching, and we're going to try and keep the spacing the same, nice and not over big, but rather not too close. I'm not wanting you to waste time here. Okay, so the smaller components will have the hatching closer to each other, and of course every adjacent component we have to change the direction or the spacing. If we can't change the direction, then at least the spacing. Try not to go over the lines like I just did. Okay, there. Okay, that's the main ones. Now we can do our bearing here on the inside. This is the same component that goes in around this axle. So this inner hull of that bearing is going to be in the same direction. Die binnekant gaan jy nou sien, daardie deel is in dieselfde rigting as daai gedeelte. En selfde spasiering, want hy gaan mos nou reg rondom die as. Do you see that? This part of the bearing actually goes all the way around, so it's the same direction. It's the inner hull. That's the actual bearing. We don't hatch that. It's not the air cavity. It's an actual bearing there. Okay. And then the outside one we're going to change now. Okay, you see there are two adjacent components, but the spacing is in fact different. Okay, wat sou nog wat ek moet aandag op gee hier met die harsering? Daar's nog 'n paar goedjies wat geharseer moet word. What do you guys see that I shouldn't miss? That if it was you now, you'd remind yourself. Yes. Gedeeltelike snit in Afrikaans, the partial section. There's two of them. So just in freehand around your pin. And again, this direction. Okay, the actual fastener, we don't section or hatch. Okay. The other part, there's a key way, again freehand, flip it, and again the smaller the component, the closer our hatching can be. Ne? Can actually have used a different pencil here, made it easier. Then we've got the cover plate. It's also nice and close. Okay, this is a good drawing for your first one of the year, that's a fact. Okay, and then the last component is this. It's again a big component, so spacing can be a bit bigger. If your ruler has, if your square has lines like this, it makes it very easy. Okay, do I hatch or section a washer? It's a fastener. I don't hatch or section a shaft. Don't section a air cavity. We're very close to finishing off this. Okay, so if I look here, I've got the end of the shaft, I've got my nut, the washer, that line there is in fact that corner going around. We've got a woodruff key with a center line. Our shaft needs a center line all the way through. Okay, then I've got the cover plate here, I've got the bearings with its center lines. I've got the main stand going around. There's an air cavity, there's an air cavity. On this side, I've got my pin. That center line can run all the way through. Okay, it needs a vertical one as well. Horizontal one, sorry. Alright, in the back there. On my front view, I'm needing my cutting plane with its indication. Alright. And that is AA here and AA this side. Please draw your lines when you do that next time. Alright, then they want a title for this one. Alright, so that's our full sectional front view. Please always print. Okay. Is there anybody that's got a question? Iemand wat 'n vraag het hierso? Any question just as we wrap this up? Alright, at the bottom there you still have to do title block, the scale and the symbol. Just a hack on that symbol. That symbol that you're going to have to draw is the one that's of course always going to be given for you. So you don't have to figure that out yourself. But take the time to actually draw this completely as required. You won't be mad at me, but you'll definitely benefit from also drawing this to high standard. Thank you for watching. Now it's your turn.